Hello from Yerevan. This is the podcast Pigeon of Peace, where we do discuss an interesting skills of troubleshooters. Watch, listen, and check description for navigating through the questions. Let's speak about anthropology, and let's start with the definition.
Anthropology is a science which learn us how we became humans. Previously, we were like monkeys, some kind of monkeys with name of hominids, and there were like five huge groups, and they started to fight against each other. They start to capture territories. They start to kill other species, and just we survive. Some people think that it is not possible that we came from monkeys because nowadays primates, they do not convert themselves to the people, but the reason is because evolution is going so long time. For example, people who can walk and run, they start to find place on Earth approximately 1 million years ago, and just 200,000 years ago in Africa, on the place that has a name heart of man, or soul of lullaby, was created some female monkey. Anthropologists gave to her name Eve, and we believe that this is our mother. All people on the earth are becoming from this Eve. But this Eve is well-known skeleton with some bones, with skull. So that's not about mystification. That's not about Bible. By the way, Bible doesn't cover such a huge amount of time.
And when we look into the anthropology from one point of view, it might be, like the history of our like a physical evolution, or maybe even the social evolution. And from another point of time, like how we maybe started as a humanity, we started like self-realize ourselves and become who we are. So if you look into all of the blocks, all of the areas that it covers, whether there is something else, or maybe there are some like a more global parts or some smaller parts that we need to be aware when we look into the anthropology as a whole science.
There are several sciences which could cover our history, but the main problem is that, bones, they could stand almost forever, but our hair, our clothes, our food, and some other stuff will dissolve in the earth, under the ground. So paleontology is about something what became stone, but anthropology is about humans, how to understand how they live. There is also one more science. It has a name, archaeology, and archaeology is about garbage bins, what was thrown away from our living. For example, it could be broken cutlery, it could be broken part of some mechanism and so on, and also our food, and also, I don't know how to say, our waste. So those three sciences, they're going all together to work, but as we told before, human became important for us not for a long period of time. By the way, not so many people know that was no chance to human to meet dinosaurs, because dinosaurs, they died long ago when first man was born. So when we talk about anthropology, this is about how we live in tribes, how we live in small groups. This is about pre-state history, and we were forced to move to some lands. And the reason is the same why our children right now have quarrels with parents, because at the age of 15, we want to leave our home nest to go somewhere and to live alone, or create our own family, or even our own tribe.
So it seems that when we look into the anthropology, it could really helps us to understand like who we are and what exactly moves us, especially and mainly from the social aspect. So if we look into like humanity, how it was developed, like starting from the gatherers and hunters periods, the moment they united into the tribes, what actually remained the same, or maybe it's like all of it, and we just like some of the parts being developed, but in the core, in a nutshell, like whether there are a lot of changes from the very, very long, like a prehistoric past and today's.
Yes, quite different views we will discuss right now. From the very first point of view, we don't like strangers, because if a stranger would come to our tribe, it could bring some diseases, and we do not want to touch him and to take his presence and so on. But from other side, we live in huge cities. By the way, you have been living in Singapore. This is state and city at the same time, and for me, Singapore and Hong Kong may be the most crowded places on the earth, except for sure of China. And as other examples, we were protecting each other from, I don't know, but from enemies, from other dangerous situations, and the same we do right now. Previously, it was like hunters; they were taking their spears and bows, and they trying to protect tribe. Now we have nukes, we have tanks, we have planes, but do almost the same. Maybe right now we have a bit more diplomacy. We have such a skill in School of Troubleshooters, and usually I start to talk about it from Egyptian times. Egyptians, they were hired some barbarians to fight with their own people, because they do not want to kill the same people with their own hands. So, by the way, about temples, right now temples not so crowded, and they do not filled with something which is important and valued. But previously, those it was just only land which was guarded all around the day and all around the night, and they were supporting fire, and all of livestock and all of food was there concentrated, and also valuable things was also keeping there.
You mentioned that like from the social and the anthropological aspect, we're always probably scanning people, like whether they do belong to our so-called tribe or maybe society, or whether not, and hence there will be like a different, I would say, like a treatment, and like how exactly we're going to interact with them. Maybe we try to look into it from the different point of view. If we would know the anthropology, how we would make sure that we can maybe infiltrate into the tribe, or just like become a valuable guest, or vice versa. We will try to find a way how to like feel ourselves like a separate from the tribe, or maybe use it for a different social interaction that we could use in our daily life.
It was a time when people were living in quite small groups. It was from 5 to 100 people, and anthropologists, they found that if we will have much more people in our tribe, we couldn't survive, because when we have tough time like a winter, we couldn't have enough food, we couldn't have enough water, and also we will so pollute our land. It will smell not so good, and we were forced to go. The same way right now is supported by some people who live on the far north, like I don't know how to say in English, like Evenki and Chukchis. Is it okay to say like this?
Yeah, that's okay to pronounce the names.
Okay, so they also live with huge school of deers, but they have not so many men surrounded by those animals. But at some point, we found that it is much preferable to live in castles, and people start to build stone huge construction to protect people, to protect women, children, and so on. At the day, gates were open in the castles, and people could go to plant something, to harvest something, to walk with cows and donkeys and so on. But at the end of the day, everyone would return, doors would be closed, and a lot of guards would see into the night to find if someone is trying to approach, and maybe they will try to ask him what I want to see, and you should wait until the sunrise. We will not open before this time, because someone could be hidden in the bushes in this dark time. The same, people also understand that it is much better to divide specialities. Previously, it was like 5 or 6 tribes which were all time trying to improve in the tribe, like hunters, like farmers, like someone who responsible for dead people or for nature forces, someone for food, someone for children, someone for animals, and someone for, I don't know how to say, but this construction where people live. For example, if we are talking about Indians, it would be tieti or wigwam. If we talk about Kazakh people or Mongolian, it would be like yurtas and so on. But right now we understand that it is much better if, for example, Maxim would know a lot of medicine, just about medicine. And for example, I would know everything about some kind of wheels or some kind of cars, and we could exchange by our labor.
And it seems that anthropology also affecting the way we live our life, and maybe, you know, like some sort of perception. For example, one of the things that I kind of was reading a lot about, and it's quite, I would say, corny, and people would mention that often. Like, for example, when you're going to sleep, you need to sleep in a dark place so that it would remind you of a cave, and maybe even the weight of your blanket should be quite heavy, so that you could think that this is the skin of the, you know, like the animal that you killed. Maybe there's another aspect that you also mentioned a couple of times when it comes to projects. You were saying that thanks to our anthropology factor, we have like only two hands. So hence there's should not be more than two projects. So how the anthropology affects the way we perceive the world, the way we interact with it, and how we could use it for our own benefits, or maybe for something to convince other people.
When we were living in tribes, we start to communicate each with each other. For example, to collect people to go for hunting or to fish, to make a fishing, and the same how to catch some rabbits or maybe rats, and how to воспитывать children's. Nurture children. And right now we do the same. When we start to make a project, we need some kind of communication, and if you are good in communication, you will collect a great team and you will do a good job. But if you are not able to communicate properly, maybe sometime you will give false tasks, and maybe you will give false reports, and you will be out of time, and you will have lack of resources. The same like in ancient time, nothing was changed.
And my last question will be how knowing about anthropology could help to make this world a better place.
I will answer, Maxim, in a very strange way. I have been to a conference about retail business. It was about food, fresh and drogery. And one man came to the stage and started to show slides and explain something. And suddenly I realized that I was not expecting this. On the red color background, it was white and black photos of people. I don't know, maybe it was from Africa, maybe it was from Oceania. It's okay to say Oceania? Oceania, yes. And they were almost naked, but their bodies were filled with white paintings and so on. And when he was talking about how we pick up goods in the store, how we want to pay, how we create crowds, очередь, queues, how we create queues. Yes, he always was showing these pictures, and you know, it was so unusual. I came to him, I was moderator of this session, and I came and I asked him, you have been an historical by your diploma? And he answered, no, I was an anthropologist. And since this time, I was talking to him maybe like 20 times, and when I have some troubles to talk with Arabian people, with Indian, with people who live in Iran, I ask him for help, and he usually give me hints, but not by words, but pointing on some books in English language, and I read the book about how we live, I don't know, 5 or 10,000 years ago, and it helps me to communicate in modern world. So my answer would be, we could learn a lot from anthropology, because we are staying the same people. Yes, we have gadgets. Yes, we could talk on different language. Maybe we do not hunt a mammoth. It's okay to say mammoth?
Mammoth, yes.
We do not hunt for the mammoth, and we do not steal women and children, but we are almost the same.
At the end of the day, we are still human as we were thousands of years ago. And we review the skill of anthropology and how it could be helpful for you. Stay in peace.